Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Money Mike, and this is the podcast of wrestling right here on YouTube. As always, well, today's show, I'm going to be discussing SummerSlam 2019 and the supposed, or at least in the WWE's mind, supposed heel turn of Becky Lynch, and why we now have a female Roman Reigns in Charlotte Flair. So if you have not done so already, check out my new Front 7 podcast that I posted yesterday talking about the new helmet rule and how it could affect the Super Bowl, who wins the Super Bowl, who makes the playoffs, and how the season could play out, especially if you are going to be taking advantage of legalized betting this upcoming football season. And as always, subscribe if you like the content. So let's go ahead and roll into today's topic here. You know, it's been an ongoing kind of frustration for WWE. It seems like they've been doing their damnedest to try to get Roman Reigns over in the last several years. You know, it's like, why can't we get him over? Why aren't the fans still booing him? And to me, booing Roman Reigns, I mean, I get that. I get why the fans do it. But, come on, man. Don't blame Roman Reigns. Don't blame the person, alright? Roman Reigns is just going out there doing his job. He's just doing his job as told by the script, by what he's going to do. And that's it. You know, it's not his fault the writing is so terrible and the creative team is so bad. I mean, I think this is the worst that we've ever had creative in the history of WWE. I mean, this is as maybe the early 90s when we had a trash man, we had a plumber, a hockey player, we had all these insane, stupid gimmicks. That's about where we're at, I think, in terms of it's not that bad, but man, the WWE has such a talented roster. They should be taking advantage of this situation, but the creative is not very creative. And they're copying the same situation on SmackDown Live with Becky and Charlotte. Now, in WWE's mind, Becky Lynch is the heel in this situation. Charlotte Flair is the face. Notice, after Becky attacked Charlotte, the close-up shot of Charlotte afterwards, or she looks like she's crying. Like, how many times has that been used for Roman Reigns? How many times has they done that with Roman Reigns where we're supposed to feel bad for Roman that he lost? You know, now we're supposed to feel bad for Charlotte because her best friend turned on her, supposedly. Even though, if you go back and listen to that promo that Becky Lynch cut last week on SmackDown, and I would imagine this leads to a title match at Hell in a Cell next month, and maybe something at Evolution in the end of October. We'll have to see how that goes. And to me, I don't get how you can boo Becky in this situation. I mean, the roles here are like reversed. The WWE did the opposite of what we wanted. You know, a Becky Lynch title win with a Charlotte heel turn was what we all expected. Alexa Bliss didn't need Money in the Bank. You could have easily gotten Alexa Bliss to be the champion in some other form. I mean, you could have had Becky Lynch win Money in the Bank. I mean, the crowd was fully behind her in Money in the Bank. Listen, go back and watch Money in the Bank. The crowd was fully behind Becky. And, you know, with Carmella being the SmackDown Women's Champion, you know, here you had an opportunity where you could have had everything come full circle with Becky Lynch winning the Money in the Bank. We go back to the first ever Money in the Bank for the women and the whole James Ellsworth fiasco. And James Ellsworth made his return at Money in the Bank this past summer. And you literally could have had Becky go out there, cash in on Carmella, had Charlotte kind of like prevent Ellsworth or do something with Ellsworth that could have tied everything together, because it was Ellsworth that prevented Becky from getting the Money in the Bank contract and gave it to Carmella in the first place. So you could have had a full story circle with Becky cashing in, Charlotte going heel on Becky, and I think there was a lot of storyline there with Charlotte being the heel in this case, because if you go back to that promo that Peyton Royce and Billie Kay cut, where they talked about where Becky was kind of in Charlotte's shadow. Becky is just Charlotte's sidekick. And that was like the perfect way for Charlotte to turn heel. Becky have her moment in SummerSlam, win the title. Charlotte gets frustrated because now Becky's out of her shadow. And secretly, while they've always been friends, Charlotte's always seen Becky as a sidekick in her shadow. So you could have easily kind of woven all that around to work in this scenario. And now, again, go back to that promo last week. The fans, and I give Becky Lynch all the credit in the world. It was in Brooklyn last week, so we'll have to see how. Okay, well, you know what? They're in Canada, so that's another. What does WWE calls these smart cities? Bizarro world. So Canada is another bizarro world. I think they're still in Toronto, which actually ended up getting SummerSlam. So congratulations to all the folks who listen up in Toronto for getting SummerSlam next year. So maybe Becky Lynch will still probably get cheered because it's Bizarro World in Canada, just like it is in Brooklyn and all these other smart cities. So Becky Lynch probably won't be booed the way WWE wants. So probably they may have to mess with the audio again. They may have to mess with the audio just like they do with Roman Reigns. To me, this is what I see. They've literally did not learn anything from Roman and what they've done with Roman Reigns in failing to get him over as a babyface. And they're applying that same very logic to Charlotte and Becky. Becky's a heel, supposedly, and we're supposed to feel sorry for Charlotte, who kind of just walked into the title match, given it just because she's Charlotte Flair, and took Becky's moment. Like, how are we supposed to feel sorry for Charlotte for being attacked by Becky and taking out all that frustration? Again, Becky Lynch said it herself. She has not had a title match since WrestleMania 33. That was over a year ago. WrestleMania 34 was a year since her last SmackDown Live Women's Championship match. And then she got her match at SummerSlam. And that streak. And yet we're supposed to feel sorry for Becky in this situation and boo her for attacking Charlotte, who just stole the spotlight. It's kind of like how we don't really care, or we don't cheer Roman as a babyface because he gets pushed over and over, and opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And that's what happened, and that's exactly what you just did here with Charlotte. Charlotte just walks right back in from injury. Oh, heck, here's a title match. What does she think she is, John Cena? Hey, I'm here. I want a title match. I deserve one because I'm Charlotte Flair. I'm Ric Flair's daughter. So that means I'm granted a title shot. Sorry, Becky. Why? I mean, I don't know. WWE just did not learn their lesson from Roman Reigns. You want them to, because SmackDown Live is actually the better show right now. Now you have AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. Apparently, Paige just loves SmackDown, SmackDown Live Tag Team Title Tournaments. I mean, we have another one set for tonight to begin, as it will be the Club versus the Bar versus the Colognes, who I did not realize were still employed. And then next week, I assume, will be the Usos, Sanity, and Rusev Day, which is Rusev and Aiden English. And then those two will face off to see who will challenge a New Day, yada yada yada. But right now, SmackDown Live is doing very well, a lot better than Raw. And again, there's so much potential with Braun Strowman versus The Shield. Can they capitalize? And that's where I don't see creative doing that. You know, Daniel Bryan was worried. He said he didn't trust creative to stretch out his feud with The Miz till WrestleMania next year. Which I think so far, I think they're actually doing a great job at extending it. You know, you kind of have this mixed tag team match. You have probably Brie and Maurice in a singles match at Evolution, probably, is what I'm guessing. Now you see the same creative team that Daniel Bryan does not trust to carry the feud with The Miz to WrestleMania, doing the same thing they have done with Roman to Charlotte and Becky. Charlotte as a heel is the best Charlotte. It's so weird to me because Charlotte and Sasha, when you look at the four horsewomen, alright, Charlotte and Sasha are better as heels. Bayley and Becky are better as underdog type of baby faces, right? And essentially, they have the Charlotte and Sasha are like out of place. Sasha should be a heel. Charlotte should be a heel. And what we saw happen between Charlotte and Becky is what should have happened between Bayley and Sasha. Just seems to me as we get into SmackDown tonight, WWE is repeating the same mistakes that they made with Roman Reigns, with Charlotte Flair. I wish they learned something from that, from the failed Roman Reigns experiment. To me, it's like, how do you repeat the same mistake here with this? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Is creative really that uncreative or not even paying attention to what's working and what's not working on TV? Now hold on 1 second here, alright? I know what a lot of you are saying. Well, this can't be the same situation with Roman Reigns. Charlotte's not being shoved down our throats. You know, she's not being given title shot after title shot after title shot after every loss. From that standpoint, yes. Yes, you cannot parallel the storylines of what they're doing with Roman, what they're going to do in this situation with Charlotte. Because Charlotte is not being pushed and shoved down our throat. I cannot talk right now. Title opportunity after title opportunity like Roman Reigns. How many title shots does Roman Reigns have at the Universal title at the expense of all the other talent? What else? Seth Rollins. You could have had Braun Strowman without the cash in. You know, we had Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank. Royal Rumble 2015 had a WWE Championship match. They could have had Braun face Brock Lesnar. I mean, they could have had Samoa Joe. I mean, yeah, we've seen these matches, but they would have at least been different. You know, we could have had many other opportunities, many other potential matches for Brock Lesnar, but yet we got 4 freaking matches between Roman and Brock, and I hope for goodness sake they do not do a 5th one at some point. I hope to goodness Brock Lesnar is gone to the UFC and we do not ever happen to see another Brock and Roman match. But again, in that retrospect, yes, the situations are different because Charlotte's not getting every title shot at the expense of Asuka, Becky, and the entire SmackDown Live women's roster. What I am comparing it to is essentially the heel and face dynamic. And I want you guys to understand that. Not the exact same situation, but it is going to result in the same situation that the Roman overpush and the constant matches, championship matches that Roman got, resulted in. Roman, the babyface, getting booed, the supposed heel getting cheered, because the fans were sick and tired of Roman being shoved down our throat. And Charlotte in this situation, yeah, she came back, she saved Becky Lynch from being attacked by Carmella, and Paige just said, hey, here's your title shot. Here, face beat Carmella and you can get a title shot. And it's a triple threat match. Like, to me, part of this heel turn has to include Becky going after Paige. Yes, essentially this would result in somewhat like Daniel Bryan and The Miz when Daniel was not cleared, where Miz realistically could not put his hands on Daniel Bryan because he was not cleared. And so Becky can't really attack Paige for putting Charlotte in that match, giving Charlotte a match to get into the match at SummerSlam, but you could at least maybe use this to bring back Shane McMahon. Now, I know Shane McMahon, he's been out dealing with an injury that he's suffered since before WrestleMania, and right now I've heard that creative just has nothing for him. And I agree. I think Paige is doing a great job right now. I think, again, SmackDown Live, granted, Shane McMahon did get a little crazy, inserting himself into storylines where he didn't really need to be involved in, but at least we knew Shane was going to give us entertaining matches. Everybody complained saying, oh my god, Shane and AJ Styles is being wasted at WrestleMania, but it was one of the best matches in WrestleMania 33. Ain't nobody can deny that. And in this situation, you could have Becky, seems like on Raw, all the heels go whine to Stephanie McMahon, so why can't heel Becky? Since Paige can't do nothing, since can't wrestle, she can't be touched, in terms of any payback for Becky being, hey, you put Charlotte in the match. Again, you put Charlotte in a match against Carmella, giving her the opportunity to steal my title. Therefore, I'm going to attack you and beat the hell out of you. But I can't do that because you're retired, and we legally cannot touch you because of a lawsuit. And I know you guys can't see it, but I have air quotes around lawsuit. Again, in this situation, bring back Shane McMahon. Have Becky call Shane, tell him to come to SmackDown Live, and complain to Shane, saying, hey, look, Paige, gave Charlotte a match and stole my title, and, Charlotte, it stole my spotlight. It was my match to begin with, and, I want you to strip Charlotte of that title, or whatever. To try to do something that would get us to boo Becky. You're going to have the same scenario where Charlotte will always be booed, because again, what reasons do we have to boo Becky Lynch? Well, realistically, the fans, are actually right in this scenario to boo Charlotte for taking Becky's spotlight away from her. And Becky had every right to turn heel, but I don't think it's working out the way WWE expected it to. And I don't think it's going to until they do the right thing, which is why I think they maybe need to bring in Shane McMahon. Have Becky go over Paige to Shane and bring Shane back. And Becky go, you know what, I want a title match, or I want you to strip Charlotte of the title because Paige had no right to give her a match to enter my match at SummerSlam. You could try to do something here, but again, I don't know even if that would work. I don't think it would work because you have Shane as a babyface, Paige as a babyface, on Raw. You had Kurt Angle, until Stephanie McMahon's ego emasculated Kurt Angle onto vacation. So Baron Corbin is now the general manager, but that's another story for later on. Essentially, have Becky go and be like, hey Shane, do something about this. Reprimand Paige. something. Like, try to do something that will get us to boo her. Because otherwise, you're going to have the scenario of the fans always cheering Becky and the face, Charlotte, and Charlotte being the face, being booed. That's the comparison to Roman Reigns that I'm talking about here. I don't want you guys to get confused saying, oh, this isn't like Roman Reigns, Charlotte wasn't given title shot after title shot. I'm just talking more of the fan dynamic of Charlotte being booed, Becky being cheered, even though we're supposed to be cheering Charlotte and booing Becky. So that's the retrospect there. And again, odd how the WWE just has the roles kind of flipped. I mean, if you look at the four horsewomen in general, Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, Bayley, Charlotte and Sasha as faces are out of place. Charlotte and Sasha as heels are when they are the best in character. When you have Becky and Bayley as the underdog baby faces, it works 100%. Now, am I saying that heel Bayley or heel Becky, when it can't work? No. I mean, again, I feel heel Becky Lynch has a lot of potential if done right. And I think this storyline with Charlotte was not the right situation to turn her heel. It just was not the right storyline at all for a Becky heel turn. I liked that promo last week, but again, it's so hard to not cheer her. When she was talking about last week saying that, oh, the fans weren't ever behind her. They weren't, and she tried to spin it. And again, I go back, I give Becky a lot of credit on this. She tried to spin it in a way where, even though the actual reaction to Charlotte winning was fans that were angry and upset, she tried to spin it in a way where the fans were happy for Charlotte winning, but yet the fans were not buying it. And again, we're not in Brooklyn, but we're in the other part of Bizarro World known as Canada, where the fans are a lot of smarks there as well. So I don't think Becky is going to get booed. It's hard to look at this and go, I cannot find any reason to boo Becky in this situation. It's amazing, WWE. You always try the same thing over and over. You say you listen to your fans. No, you don't listen to your fans. So hopefully, just maybe this will work out. Maybe the WWE will do a double turn and do the right thing and flip Charlotte to being a heel, Becky to being the face. So that way we can cheer Becky like we want to, and we can boo Charlotte just the way the fans want to boo Charlotte. And to me, Charlotte, she's a 7-time women's champion. Did she really need the title in this situation? I mean, Becky winning, Charlotte going heel would have gave you the same result that we saw at SummerSlam, but with the heel and face dynamic flipped to where it should be. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Becky Lynch will get over as a heel? Or will Becky Lynch continue to be cheered while Charlotte will get booed, making her the female Roman Reigns in the coming months in WWE? I've been your host, Money Mike, and I will be back with some more podcasts of wrestling in the Front 7 podcast later on this week. And as always, subscribe to this channel if you like the content. And I've been your host, Money Mike, and I'll see y'all later this week with even more content coming up.